All right, I am here with what I like to call the Ageless Wunder, George Maybroda. George, I did mention to you before we called here. I'm picking my mother up for a Friday night family dinner. I'm not home on many weekends, so I cannot do an hour and a half interview with you because I always enjoy these, and it just gets time flies by so quickly. But
it does.
For those who do not know you, why don't you tell us who you are, where you train, and how old are you?
So I'm George Maybroda. I've been doing martial arts for well over 30 years. I do it professionally. I own 2 schools. So I train out of my school, Iron Circle Martial Arts in Malvern. And I also train with crew Isaac Glendenning at Jaisin Muay Thai, and he's been great. I'm 53 years old. I've been competing for a long time. The first time I ever got in the kickboxing ring, I was in my mid 40s. Before then, Olympic style Taekwondo is what I did. And then, point karate mainly. I had a B-rated seat to Olympic trials in 1999. So that's been my claim to fame thus far. I love to compete. I love to fight. It's just, it's in me. And I still feel like I have some gas in the tank. So we're going to take it as far as we can.
Very good. Now you're going up against Mike Evans for the senior title. At 53 years old, you'll be the oldest ever to compete on a USKA kickboxing card. You do not currently hold that record, though. We had a 52-year-old, I believe, 51 or 52, fight just this past weekend.
Nice.
It did not go well for him. He fought a 40-some-year-old in Dan Inch, and he lost in the first round. I'm wondering.
I saw that. I trained with Danny. I trained with Danny the weekend before, and Danny dumped me on my head. He swept me and dumped me on my head. So Danny's the real deal. I mean, if you're going to go up against Dan Inch, you got to have your stuff together. So.
Absolutely, and that fight. I mean, I believe I'm going to say the weight wrong, but I think it was a 155 or 145. But how do you feel about going into your fight knowing guy 51, 52 didn't fare so well last weekend?
You know what? When I train, the only thing that reminds me of my age is the mirror. I still move really well. I still feel really well. I'm really strong. I'm fast. I'm still flexible. I just never stop training. I think that, you look at a lot of like martial arts instructors and martial arts masters, and they get to a certain point and they stop and then they try to start again years later. I just never did that. I just never stopped training. So my body's used to that range of motion. Am I as fast as I was when I was in my mid to late 20s? No. Do I recover as well? No. But you just have to change the way that you train. You have to change your strategy. You got to make sure that you rest when you need to rest. I think, Mike and I were supposed to fight about a year ago, and then I had a hamstring tendon tear and then another one. And I think that I was training too hard and I wasn't listening to my body. And I think that that's very important. I have comparable levels of skill and ability at 53 than I did when I was 28 to 30. I just have to do it differently now. So,
Right.
age is a number. And like the guys I train with, I'm the oldest guy by far that I'm training with. I'm going to go and train with crew on Sunday with his team. And I think that the oldest guy is 31. Ninja Dave Gaultieri is a really good friend of mine. Awesome guy. Those guys are beasts. I went to train with the Wolves for a reason. So.
Right. Very good. And I do want to kind of recap the last year, because we had you set up, I think, the fight February 10th last year, and you did, correct me at any point if I'm wrong, you pulled a hamstring for February 10th, and that was against Mike Evans. Mike's really cool. He was good with that. We moved it to probably mid-April. Then you pulled your other hamstring. Then so
I had big tendon. I had partial tears on my hamstrings, and it literally felt like somebody took a resistance band and just hit me in the rear end. And it happened on Sunday when I was training. And it's 6 weeks, and then it happened again. And Mike was really, really cool. I mean, hats off to Mike because he's been really patient. The cool thing about Mike is I think that he's in a similar place in his life than I am. He runs a martial arts school. He's a little bit older. He's a father. It's not a matter of the training and everything else. It's a matter of all the other responsibilities that you have at this age that you have to train with. So, hats off to the guy. I got nothing but good things to say about Mike Evans.
Right, right. So now we're back at it, and it's going to be at Harrahs Casino on March 22nd.
Very
And
cool.
Philadelphia. So is that better for you than Allentown was? I believe it is for Mike. Is it better for you, location-wise, drive-wise?
Yeah, yeah. So Iron Circle is in Malvern, which is a suburb of Philly. So, and everybody's from Delaware. I mean, right now I live in New Providence, Pennsylvania, which is closer to Lancaster. So I'm closer to probably Gracie 717 than I am anywhere else, but it's still in close proximity. So everybody that's going to come to watch, it's just, and it's at Harrahs. I mean, it's a casino. It's a really awesome venue. The fact that we're fighting in the afternoon instead of the evening, I'm so pumped for that, to do a matinee show.
And is that because of your age and your bedtime?
It's actually because of when I train. Yes, it might be. I mean, it might be, right? But no, so when I train, it's between 11 and 2 every day. So that's when I peak. So that's perfect.
Right. And for those that are watching and don't know, we're doing it at Harrahs. The doors open at noon. First fight is at 1 o'clock. And the reason we're doing that is so we're teaming up with Celebrity Boxing. And then later on at night, they have a celebrity boxing show. And Iran Barkley's going to be there and all kinds of cool stuff. So that's pretty cool, too. Very good. So how are you in the last year, given those injuries? Are you preparing any differently than you were a year ago when you were setting up for this fight?
Yeah, I'm listening to my body now. And so when I train, sometimes it's just like I was at the mindset that you can never be too prepared. And that's true. But you could definitely push yourself too hard at the wrong times. And I think that that's what I was doing. Rest is important. Recovery is important. Not necessarily take the day off, but definitely do things that are more range of motion oriented, flexibility oriented. There's days to push and then there's days to recover. And that's one of the things I think I didn't wrap my head around last year. So it kept biting me. And luckily, adopting this new ideology behind training, that I haven't had any issues, knock on wood. So, I feel strong. I still feel stronger and faster than ever. I'm really, really looking forward. And honestly, I'm just enjoying still being in the game. I'm just literally, one of the most depressing things that ever happened to me was the first time I won a grand championship trophy at a martial arts tournament, because I trained so hard, but I didn't enjoy the process of doing it. And then I got there and I won the trophy and I expected pyrotechnics to burst out of the floor, everybody to feel, and no one really said anything. And it just and I thought to myself, man, I missed it. It's definitely more about the journey than it is the destination. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to lose. I want to win. I don't lose very often. I'm not good at losing, but at the same time, I'm just blessed to still be here. Blessed to still be doing this. I mean, hats off to Ed Kunkel, the PA athletic commissioner, man. He was a blessing just to be able to communicate to him, let him know where I am, and just have him understand that, if I can pass the medicals, I can still be in the game. I mean, that I can't say enough about that guy. So
yeah, Ed and the new athletic commission, their viewpoint is if you could pass the medicals, you can fight. And I know that it's been great for you. It was great for Dan Inch and certainly his opponent. We had an event this past weekend, and I believe it was the biggest ever in Pennsylvania. And I believe, according to Ed, is definitely the highest grossing event. I'm not going to blurt out those numbers, but what I told him was, listen, this is partially because of him, because we had 7 fights on the card with no headgear. That's the most ever in the state of Pennsylvania. And it's definitely a more attractive sport with this new athletic commission. And they're doing a lot of other things, a lot of positive things for the fight world, even with other sports with bare knuckle and things like that. Going back to the Dan Inch fight, because you know him, and it's kind of a similar situation. Dan Inch, after the fight, he joked and they said, well, what's next for you, Dan? And he says, hey, Gary, give me a job. I want to go work for USKA. And we had a good laugh about it, But I'm kind of thinking, Dan is a great human being. I'd like to have him on board. Now, a couple days have passed. Now, he wasn't really serious about that, but a couple days have passed, and he's emailing me, hey, I talked to Ed Kunkel this morning. My medicals are good till September. I want to defend this title now. So where are you, win, lose, or draw, going into this fight and after this fight? Do you think your process will change? Because I know you've told me you're done before, but then you've said, not working out like that.
So for me, it seems like, the cliche is like the martial arts instructors that stop training and like people that call themselves masters, they get fat, they get out of shape, they don't do much. And I think it's very hard to maintain a training regimen when you don't have something in front of you to train for. For me, I love the process of doing this, and it's up and down, man. It is a mental mind game to fight. I mean, you're up, you're down, you want to do it, you don't want to do it, you doubt yourself, you don't. I mean, anyone that says that they're not scared to death before they go in the ring is lying. It's literally the most naked place that you can be. You are completely exposed. You feel like you're the man, you feel like you're a fraud, you have all these different emotions, and I think that's what attracts me to it. It makes me be my highest self all the time. It keeps me accountable, because I'm going to go in front of my students, and, winning is great. But, if you lose, and the fact of the matter is here, time is undefeated. Eventually it's going to be time. Eventually I'm not going to be able to get in the ring anymore. But until that time, I've got to be able to win with grace. I've got to be able to lose with grace. I never talk smack about anyone. When, a lot of fighters be like, yeah, I'm going to kick his butt, or I'm going to do this. Man, anyone that steps in the ring, you have my respect. And every single guy that I've ever fought, we ended up being friends after the fight. I mean, every single one of those guys. So, and it's like when you connect with somebody like that and you go through that, and until you're standing in the ring with somebody else and understand it, it's a brotherhood after that. I mean, like I said, I fought Dave Gaultieri, and he is literally one of my best friends in the world. He's a great guy. I met Drew Isaac through him. It's a life-changing experience. I think everybody should get in the ring or put themselves in that position where they're that uncomfortable at least one time in their life.
How old were you? I mean, this comes back to your age a lot, but how old were you when you went for your first USKA title? You came up a little short. How old were you at that time?
That was Sean in 2018. So that was 7 years ago, 46, 47.
All right. So at 46, 47, did you think that was the end of the run? Did you see yourself doing this at 53?
I didn't know. And it's funny that, one of the things after that, so my license got pulled after that. The PA Athletic Commission would not let me defend, would not let me get back. That fight really changed my life completely, to be completely honest with you. I ended up losing my marriage over that. And just because I kind of went, I wasn't ready to be done. And I definitely wasn't ready to be done like that. I didn't feel like I managed that situation very well. And to be completely honest with you, Sean Morgan's a great guy. He's a friend of mine. If I would have run that fight again, chances are the outcome would have been the same. He's a phenom. That guy could be pro. What's funny is before my last fight, he was at Algio's and he and I were sparring. And I know I had talked to you about like wanting to fight him again. Yeah, that would not go very well for me. Now, Sean's a beast. Sean, you know what I'd like to see, honestly? I'd like to see Sean Morgan, Ed Higgins. I think that would be a banger. Yeah. Right? I think that would be awesome.
If Sean's watching this, that is like a dream matchup right there.
Right? Right. I actually just trained with Ed about a week ago before his fight, and he's a beast, man. Everybody from King Street, those guys are on time.
King Street's doing a lot of good things. Don't get me wrong, we had a lot of great fighters on that card the other night. Two that really stick out is Ed Higgins and Amir from Tiger Schulman's. And the reason they stick out is not only are they dominant and so far ahead, because they did not fight bums. Amir fought Guillermo, who's awesome, and Mike Sawyer fought Ed Higgins. And Mike Sawyer he looks like he's chiseled out of granite.
He's a monster. Yeah.
And what Ed Higgins did to him was amazing. And the way Amir won was amazing. But then I'm looking back, and if I'm not mistaken, Amir is either 18 or 19 years old. And Ed Higgins either turned 19 or turned 20 today, which is, right. I mean, the guy's high school age, beating men who look like they're chiseled out of granite. Absolutely amazing. So,
yeah.
But so back to you. I'm still pumped up and excited about last weekend's card. What we are the 28th of February here, and so we got probably 3 weeks. You
Yep.
know, what's your mind like right now? How's your training going? You going to Josh Singh, you sparring with Danny Inch. Tell him to stop dumping you on your head. We don't need you all banged up.
No, so Danny came up to there, and we do a lot of those Muay Thai gyms cross train with each other. If you want to really train traditional Muay Thai, you need to go see Crew Isaac. I mean, and that guy, I'll be honest with you, that's the instructor I've wanted throughout my entire life. Somebody like that. But the thing is, you got to really be careful what you wish for, because he is a no nonsense guy. He wants, if him that you want to fight, he's going to hold you to the highest possible standard. He's not about excuses. He's not about crap. If you're there, he expects you to work and he pushes you. So my mindset is, man, honestly, I go through those Sunday trainings with those guys and be able to get through that. All this is a win. I'm going to go and I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to display my skill set. I'm calm. I'm cool and collected right now. I feel very, very comfortable. I'm ready to go. I feel like I could go tomorrow if I had to. So, I think that I have a strategy moving forward for that fight. I think it'll work out really well. Yeah, I mean, I'm just really looking forward to it, and I appreciate Mike for the understanding and being flexible about things, so we could finally do this. I'm really looking forward to getting in there and putting on a show for these guys.
Awesome. One last thing I want to ask you about, and I kind of touched on this other times, but how do you balance, this is like a business and a training question. How do you balance, I believe you have 2 gyms, not just one, plus you're going with Crew Isaac and plus, I'm assuming you're training yourself outside of your classes at your gym. So how are you balancing all that? What does a week look like for you, and how do you do that? And you mentioned something. One more thing. You mentioned how many children do you have?
7.
Okay, 7 kids. So put that all together for me.
So I actually own a firearms training company too. So I own 3 businesses. So I'm doing that. So too, you will find time for things that you prioritize. And me being a martial arts instructor and and I look at myself as a fighter first and a student first. I feel like I have to set the example for the people around me. And if I don't train, if I don't prioritize this stuff, that's not the example that I want to set for my students. I feel like regardless of how busy you are, if you bring me your schedule, I will find you time to train. I worked at Discover Card Services, credit card company, like right out of like when I first started back in the martial arts, probably 93, 94. And I would go in the handicap stall in the bathroom during my breaks and train, because it had like a support bar and a mirror and all this stuff, and I would throw side kicks in the handicap stall. If you want it bad enough, you'll find a way to do it. Yeah, it's hectic, man. My sons were in car seats when I was training. I would literally put them in car seats. They would watch me train. Then it went to high chairs, and now they actually come out and train with me. My son wants to fight, so after this is all over, he's 16. He'll be next. He's a monster. He'll be far more talented than I am, and I have, now that I have the connections that I do with Crew, I have someone that can help me train him and help me guide him. It's just, for me, this is the best possible lifestyle. I would definitely rather burn out than rust out. So I'm going to fight as much as I can. If I win this title, I want to defend it. If I don't win this title, I want to fight again. I'm going to fight until people are not willing to get in the ring with me anymore. So that's where I'm at.
Very good. George, man, it's always a pleasure. I told myself that for these interviews, I want to do like 10 minutes with everybody. I said, I know going into this is going to be long. I want to do 20 minutes with you. So this seems like a perfect time to wrap this up. But the fight is March 22nd. It's the second ever all kickboxing Muay Thai casino show ever. We did one in Bethlehem a few years ago when Irv was running things. We're expecting a great fight and a great turnout, but I want to give you the last word, and you can talk it up for March 22nd, and then we'll get this out on Monday with your poster.
I just, I'm appreciative to you and Dave Harr and everybody that supports me in this, my family, just everybody, all the supports that I've been shown. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fight as hard as I can. and just put on a great show. And yeah, man, I'm just really looking forward to it. So get your tickets for this. It's a great promotion. Support your local fighters. You know, I'm ready to go.
All right, George, I will see you March 22nd. It was great talking to you once again.
All right. Thank you, sir.